The Invalid Story, written by Mark Twain, by Tesla, Jasmine, Kinley, and Zach.
Mark Twain, born Samuel Clemens, was born and grew up in the Missouri near the Mississippi River. Most of his stories take place in his time near the mighty Mississippi. Although he did many different jobs, he was prominently an author of short stories, sketches, and novels. Some of his literature was Tom Sawyer and the Huckleberry Finn. But what we're talking today about is one of his short stories, The Invalid Story. It is about a case of mistaken identities which eventually kills a man.
The Invalid Story by Mark Twain.
I seem 60 and married, but these effects are due to my condition and sufferings, for I am a bachelor and 41. It will be hard for you to believe that I am who I am now but a shadow. Was as hale, hardy man 2 short years ago, a man of iron, a very athlete. But stranger still is the fact in the way of which I lost my health. I lost it through helping take care of a box of guns on a 200-mile railway journey one winter's night. It is the actual truth, and I will tell you about it. I belonged in Cleveland, Ohio, one winter's night 2 years ago. I reached home just after dark. First thing I heard when I entered the house was that my dearest boyhood friend and schoolmate, John B. Hackett, had died the day before, and that his last utterance was that desire that I would take his remains to his poor old father and mother in Wisconsin. I took the card marked Deacon Levi Hackett, Bethlehem, Wisconsin, and hurried off through the whistling storm to the railway station. I arrived there and found a long white pine box which had been described to me. I saw the box put safely aboard the express car, and then I ran to the eating room to provide myself with a sandwich and some cigars. When I returned presently, there was my coffin box, back again, and apparently a young fellow examining around it with a card in his hand and some tacks and a hammer. I was astonished and puzzled. He began to nail on his card, and I rushed out to the express car in a good deal state of mind to ask for an explanation. But no, there was my box, all right in the express car. It hadn't been disturbed. The fact is that without my suspecting in a prodigal mistake it had been made, I was carrying off a box of guns which the young fellow had come to the station to ship off to a rifle company in Peoria, Illinois, and he had gotten my corpse. Just then the conductor sang out,
"All aboard!"
I jumped into the express car and got a comfortable seat on the bale buckets. The expressman was there, hard at work, a plain man of 50, with a simple, honest, good-natured face, and a breezy, practical heartiness in his general style. As the train moved off, the stranger skipped into the car and set a pack of peculiarly mature, capable Limburger cheese on one end of my coffin box. I mean, my box of guns. That is to say, I know now that it was Limburger cheese, but at the time I never heard of the article in my life, and of course was wholly ignorant of its character. The old expressman made a brisk remark or two about the tempest of the article weather. He went bustling around here and there and yonder, setting things to the rights, and all the time constantly hummed Sweet By and By in a low tone and flattering a good deal. Presently I began to notice a foul odor, and this distressed me even more. Though, through the course of the night, I learned that the expressman's name was Thompson, and soon I began to notice Sweet By and By gradually fading, and then it all ceased together.
Phew! I reckon that ain't no cinnamon that I've loaded in this here stove with. Friend of yourn?
Yes, I said with a sigh.
He's pretty ripe, ain't he? Sometimes it's uncertain whether they're really gone or not. Seen gone, you know, body warm, joints limber and so. Although you think they're gone, you don't really know. I've had cases in my car. It's perfectly awful because you don't know what minute they're going to rise up and look at you. But he ain't no trance. No, sir, I'll bail for him. Well, we've got to go. They ain't no getting around it. Man, that is born of a woman is a few days and far between, as Scripture says. Yes, you look at it any way you want. It's awful solemn, and curs, they ain't nobody can get around it. One day you're hardy and strong.
He scrambled to his feet and broke a pane and stretched his nose out at it a moment or two, and then sat back down, while I struggled up and thrust my nose at the same place. And this we kept on doing every now and then.
And the next day he's cut down like grass, and the places which knowed him ain't knowed him no more forever, as Scripture says. Yes, indeedy, it's awful solemn and curses, but we got all we got to do. One time or another, there ain't no getting around it. What'd he die of?
I said, I don't know.
How long's he been dead?
It seemed judicious to enlarge the fact of the probability, so I said 2 or 3 days.
I've got an idea. Suppose we buckle it down to it and give the colonel a bit of a shove towards the other end of the car. How about 10 foot, say? He wouldn't have so much influence then, don't you reckon?
I said it was a good scheme, so we took a good fresh breath of air at the broken pane and calculated to hold it until we got through. Then we went there and bent over that deadly cheese and took a grip of the box. Thompson nodded, all right, and then we threw ourselves forward with all our might, but Thompson slipped and slumped down with his nose on the cheese, and his breath broke loose. He gagged and gasped and floundered up and made it for a break for the door, taunting the air and saying hoarsely,
Don't hinder me! Give me the road! Give me the road! I'm dying! Give me the road! Do you reckon we started the general anyway?
I said no. We hadn't budged him.
It ain't no use. Why, Cap, don't you know, as much as 100 times worse in there now than it was when we first got it going. I never did see one of them warm to his work so and take such a damnation interest in it. No, sir, I never did. As long as I've been on the road, I've carried many one of them. And I was telling you.
We were taken from the platform an hour later, frozen and insensible, at the next station, and I went straight off for a virulent fever and never knew anything about it for 3 weeks. I found out then that I had spent that awful night with a harmless box of rifles and a lot of innocent cheese. But the news was too late to save me. Imagination had done its work, and my health was permanently shattered. Neither Bermuda nor any other land could even bring it back. This is my last trip, and I am on my way home to die.